Welcome back to the Logic Speak podcast. I am here in the Logic Speak studios with my co-host, Jason Etheridge. Good to see you again, Jason.
Always good to be here.
Yeah. So we're back on the podcast. Something I talked about on a previous episode was that we would be starting every episode with a random icebreaker question that you have no idea what the question's going to be.
I've been nervous ever since I heard that.
And so I kind of eased you into it with a...
You did. It was a softball
question. So we're just going to take a hard right turn and get into I don't know if this is going to be hard to answer, if it's going to just pop easy. So here's the question. What is the most irrational fear that you have?
Wrongful imprisonment.
Really?
Did I answer too quickly?
No.
I have never heard this. I did not know you were going to ask me this. So it's clearly a real thing. Yeah, I've said that probably my whole adult life. And, of course, you see movies where...
Somebody watched Suits.
Yeah, but once you are imprisoned, no one believes you, right? Everybody's innocent in here kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Like, the die has been cast. you're in it, and how many years and dollars and appeals and all the things. But, yeah, wrongful imprisonment. That's it. And let's face it, how many times does that happen? And really, not that many.
I don't know.
Well,
everyone says they're wrongfully imprisoned, so how would you know?
See, everybody's innocent.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
The first thing that came to mind is not really a fear. I guess it kind of is. Okay, so I've got two, and they both are related to travel.
You've had time to think about this. I have not.
No, I literally just pulled up the list, and anyways. They both are related to travel. The first is, I don't know why, but I have an irrational fear of not having enough undergarments while on a trip. And so if I'm gone for 2 nights, I pack 4. I always pack double than what I need. I don't know why. It's not like I had a trauma experience.
I think that's like Boy Scouts, planning ahead. Were you an Eagle Scout or something?
No, not at all.
Well, okay.
The other one is being on the window seat or in the middle seat and not being able to get up to use the restroom because somebody's sleeping hard. Even if it's an hour-long flight, I am an aisle guy.
Oh, always.
Aisle till
my wife and I have lots of disagreements about where we book our flights because she wants to be on the window.
Oh,
she likes to be able to see out. It frustrates her that people close the window on a flight. She likes to be able to see.
Well, overnight
she gets plane sick and car sick.
Gotcha.
But I want to be on the aisle. So figuring that out with 2 kids, four tickets.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Challenging.
Yep. Well, I'm glad that we agree on the aisle seat.
Yes.
I just like to be able to get up when I need to get up.
Sure. And I don't like to inconvenience people.
Yeah, maybe it's the people pleaser too.
Same.
Okay, that was a good one.
That's not irrational. I think that's well-founded.
Yeah, very rational fears. Yeah, then I don't know. But I'm glad you answered. Wrongful imprisonment. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good trivia question.
Let's jump into today's topic. Today I want to talk to you about something that you've actually written about recently. It's come up a few times in conversations since we expanded our leadership team. It's been a topic of conversation because it's such an important piece of our culture. And an important piece of what I think is just good leadership practice. So what we've called it is the meeting you cancel the most and why it matters.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's the meeting you shouldn't cancel.
Yeah, big time.
And it's one-on-ones. It's one-on-ones between a manager and a direct report, and why that is so important. If the cadence is weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever the cadence is, making sure that those one-on-ones happen. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And to start, I think it shouldn't be any less than once a month.
Yeah.
Depending on the organization.
Sure.
Depending on different industries, different organizations will have different cadences.
Yep.
But it has to be at least once a month.
Yep.
Because
for the manager and direct report.
For the manager direct report.
100%.
Because it's in that meeting, if done well, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But if done well, that is where relationship and trust gets built.
Yes.
And gets established. And trust, I think, is probably one of the under talked about things between manager and direct report. Managee.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that work?
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that gets talked about the least, and trust cannot be granted. Trust is not expected. Trust is is something that's earned.
Yep.
And it's over time.
Yep.
And I've learned in 21 years of running a company that there is no shortcut. There is no way to shortcut that cycle.
Yep.
Trust takes time.
Yep.
It takes small investments over time.
Mm-hmm.
And one-on-ones is where that happens.
It's also
or doesn't.
Like, I think there's structure, like, because today we're talking about one-on-ones,
Sure.
but I also think there's not a cut and paste formula either to building trust. Like, what works for you and me might not work for you and someone else.
Sure. And I think it's, to your point, it is not about the agenda.
Yeah.
Right. What's important is it additive? Is it, does the employee leave feeling invested in, or broken down, or corrected, or, it's not a meeting. Here's what it's not. It is not a meeting to tell your employee everything they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
That you should resist that urge.
Yep. One of the things that when I, about a decade ago, worked with Dr. Tim Elmore at Growing Leaders, one of the concepts we talked about was like a bank account. You make deposits and withdrawals into relationships in your workplace. As a leader, it is your job to make deposits, positive deposits, into the relationship with your direct report, so that when the time comes for you to make a withdrawal, you actually have an account balance.
That's right. You have relational capital.
You have the relational capital. Where people make mistakes is where they treat their title as their right to dictate and their right to manipulate and force things. And what ends up happening is they're withdrawing from a negative balance account.
That's right. Yeah. If you don't already have a balance, now you're in the negative.
Yep. And so, and it's just hard to get out of that negative. And so early on, and the reason why I want to talk about this right now is because we're at the beginning of the year, and this is a beautiful time to shift things if you don't feel like you're doing this well.
Yep. Or at all.
Or at all, yeah. I've been a part of companies where, like, I was assigned an executive, buddy, but you met quarterly, and that was just like, how you liking the company? What's good?
Right.
And so they call it your executive sponsor, but what we're talking about today is the one-on-one that you have with your boss or with your direct report, and yes, you do need to tackle tactical things, but it's really what you're hitting on right here at the beginning is how valuable it is for building the relationship.
Right.
So practically speaking, like when you get into a one-on-one, where's your head at? How do you settle into that mindset so that you're ready to engage with someone who reports to you?
So I think one of the tendencies, especially of a manager who feels like the organization is really busy, is, okay, I'm being told, especially if it's a middle level manager, right? I'm being told I have to have these one-on-ones.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Okay. Employee comes in. And so I want to be as efficient as I can with my time or with their time, because I need them to get back to billing or get back to selling or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And you just dive right in to all the tactical, follow-throughs, follow-ups, checklists. Hey, did you do this thing? Have you reached out to this person?
Yeah.
All of that stuff. Not to say there's not a place in the time for all of those things, but when you change gears without a clutch, when you just dive right in, you're not building relationship.
Yep.
And so I think one of the first things to establish in a one-on-one cadence is, how do you start a meeting well? And starting a meeting well is to treat the other person like a human being.
Yeah.
And not a gear, a cog, a lever, a switch.
Yep.
One of my favorite questions is, how am I finding you today? Right? John Ott, our business coach, asks that a lot.
Yeah.
And you can find various ways to say it so it doesn't feel so rote and more formulaic.
Sure.
But the idea is to settle in to a time together.
Yep.
And encourage employees to bring their true selves.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing that's really important for a leader or a manager is to model vulnerability and trust.
I love that.
And so anytime that I get an opportunity to share how I'm coming in, I want to be as authentic as I can.
Yeah.
Right. And so if literally on the way into work, I had a challenging call, or my kids were yelling at each other and I was dropping them off at, school, and, on the way to work, I'm thinking about how my kids hate each other and, all those things. And then I come in and I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah.
That's not authentic.
Yeah. You can feel
there's a discord, right? Or a dissonance between how I'm showing up and what I say.
Yep.
And so I think it's important to be vulnerable as a leader because you will, or as a manager, both, because you will encourage that vulnerability.
Yeah. I think it's cool because I've been on the receiving end as a direct report going to meet with a manager where they've actually led first. They're not, you can almost have like this candid conversation of like, hey, when we meet together, like, yes, we're going to cover some operational and tactical things, but also I want us to be intentional about connecting during this time.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I like to do is kind of give you an insight into how I'm showing up today.
Yeah.
So I'll go first. Today I am a little bit overwhelmed and I've got a lot on my mind. So if I seem distracted, it's not you. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
How am I finding you today? Like just leading by example.
Love it.
And kind of setting that expectation, as John puts it, that we're going to settle into the meeting first, and we're going to take some time just to gauge where we're at and dial into the same frequency.
Yeah.
And then we can move on to the agenda of the meeting, making sure that we hit the right things and we're covering the right things with regards to the actual position and role that the individual's holding. It's so powerful. One of the things I want to ask you, and then I've got some more tactical one-on-one ideas and thoughts to kind of bounce off of you, but why do you think, because it's happened to me before, I've had the recurring one-on-one just canceled indefinitely without any explanation, and I've seen it happen to people. Why is that such a temptation for leaders?
Oh, how many ways? We've all done this, right? So everything I'm about to say, I'm speaking from a point of experience and failure, not at you, right?
Yeah.
Because it's never, that sometimes the most important things are never going to yell or speak up. It's the urgent things that take. So, there's urgent versus important.
Yep.
And so we let all the urgent things kind of creep in, and this client's frustrated. I need to talk to them. This other employee has this challenging situation. I've got, all the myriad examples, but they're all urgent, and most of them are nowhere near as important as that time that you've set intentionally with your employee.
Yep.
And so we tend to like reschedule or rescheduling turns into canceling, like, oh, well, now it's just been so many days. Let's just wait until the next one, said every manager ever. Right.
Yeah.
And why that's so dangerous is because you're communicating to your employee that they're not a priority.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest
it's
damage.
Right. And then they learn that. And so what do? Then they start deprioritizing. And so they'll start canceling them. Like, oh, hey, listen, I'm working on this thing that you asked me to do. Can we cancel this one-on-one so that I can get it finished up? Because they've learned, oh, this is time that I can, that's variable. This is time that I can shift. This is time I can use or get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once that starts, it is such a slippery slope, and you find yourself at the bottom of the mountain with never having a one-on-one again.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's such a loss. It is it's so sad, really, to lose that opportunity for influence, to lose that opportunity to eliminate obstacles for your employees. And like I said, we've all done it. And again, we're not also saying that you can't reschedule a one-on-one.
Yeah.
It just has to be the exception.
Yep.
Not the rule. And you and I talked earlier about this. My rule of thumb, if we're going to reschedule a one-on-one, that I come with another date. So when I convey that I need to reschedule it, immediately offering another date right then.
Yep.
Because if it doesn't get on the calendar immediately, that's when it gets pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
And that you do it as close to the date, right? Hey, I need to reschedule. Can we do it this afternoon instead?
Yep.
Hey, I'm so sorry this came up, but I've got an unexpected emergency with my child. I have to take him to the doctor.
Yep.
Could we move to tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Right. Because then that conveys importance. Like, hey, this is so important to me. I'm so sorry that I have to do this. Let's just shift a little bit.
Yep. I like that. Transparency, high level communication. If you're canceling, coming with a alternative date,
right.
I think that's all really good.
Right.
What about like maybe making the one-on-one isn't the problem, but actually facilitating the one-on-one is a bit of the problem. And one of the things I love about some of the programs we use, like Stretty, it helps give us alignment in making sure that we hit the topics that we need to hit in a meeting.
Yep.
And it provides the structure so that the employee knows what to expect, the employee knows, or the direct report knows what to expect and how to prepare.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a bad way to do a one-on-one.
One bad way?
Yeah, several. Let's talk about some of them. So one of them that I wrote down was being entirely relational but not tactical at all.
Yeah. I think one of the things that makes one-on-ones a relationship and art, not science, is the flexibility, right? I'll give you a couple of examples. If you're trying really hard to be relational at the beginning of a one-on-one and the other employee is actually being vulnerable and is close to tears about something, and then you cut them off and say, okay, well, what about this task you were supposed to do?
Well,
right?
That time's up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, sorry. The agenda says, look here, it says we're supposed to have the segue for 5 minutes,
point.
right? You have to be willing to let the conversation go where it goes. And you may not get to half of the items on the agenda. Some of the best one-on-ones I've ever had started with the first thing and never made it to any of the rest of them. They were the most connective, the most relational.
Yep.
You can always follow up later with a question about a task, right?
I would say some of the best therapy sessions I've had have come out of asking one question, and then all of a sudden, your hour's up.
Yep.
And you're like, wow, we just covered so much and went a direction I didn't know I needed to go.
Yeah.
Kind of away from where I thought we were going to go. But yeah, I love what you said. It's an art, not just a science. If you stay rigidly committed to the structure, then you might miss opportunities.
Right.
If you don't have a fallback structure, if you kind of default to more relational, then you run the risk of it being a waste of time.
Certainly being viewed that way.
If you're just shooting the breeze
Right.
and not actually accomplishing things.
Correct.
So
one-on-one is not a friend. You're not building a friendship.
Yep.
Not to say that you can't be friends.
Yep.
But that's not the point. The point is not to build a friendship. The point is for the employee to feel invested in.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And so I agree. I think there has to be an agenda. There has to actually be a stated vision or purpose when an employee starts the company, right? When you have that first one-on-one, probably the first one should be all about the importance of one-on-ones, what they're there to accomplish, vision casting for why we're doing this together, and why it's going to be prioritized as something that is sacrosanct, or whatever word you would use. And so I think that's really important.
I think that there's a being able to communicate the why fits into so many different leadership principles.
Yep.
Understanding the why behind the what. Understanding your own personal why so you know what's driving you is so valuable. But understanding the why behind the what is so valuable. And I've heard different leadership podcasts and different people talk about, like, the number one reason why people breeze by that is because they feel like it takes too much work to explain themselves. Yeah. And I'm not saying you always have to explain yourself. Like, sometimes as the leader of an entire organization, founder of this organization, there are going to be times you make decisions that you need to make quickly and that they aren't necessarily going to immediately deliver a why.
And you may not always know, meaning it might take some work to get to the why. Know it inherently, you have this instinct that this is the right approach.
Yep.
And it takes a little while to connect the dots to the why. And so I think that's where leaders exit and be like, well, I don't got time to explain myself.
Yep.
Let's just do this thing.
But I do think that if your default is, I'm where it makes sense, where I can, I am going to prioritize taking the extra time to explain the why, you will garner more trust, more buy-in from your team.
For sure.
More belief, more understanding. It's one of those things that I feel like every great leader that I've worked with is very consciously aware of the value of the why behind the what.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so good to come in with a clear why, clear objectives, and try to tackle those. I think a lot of times in one-on-ones, I've been in more one-on-ones as a direct report than I have as a manager, but I've also had many that I've led.
Sure.
And I've been...
So can I turn it around on you?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's been your experience, or what have you learned from being the direct report? What are some of those lessons that you can bring?
Yeah. I appreciate that. I
haven't been a direct report in a hot minute.
21 years.
And counting.
Or 5 minutes if Ashley was.
Well, that's fair. Just don't invite her to this.
Yeah. I mean, what I was about to say is I've been a manager who has canceled one-on-ones without really facilitating that well, where I've gotten too overwhelmed, too busy.
Sure.
One of the red flags I look for if I'm facilitating a one-on-one is if I'm only getting one-word answers, then I'm probably not asking the right questions.
Yep.
The other thing is I heard this talk recently, and I actually brought the book. I know we're not doing a full-blown book study, but I brought this book. It's called The Author versus Editor Dilemma. I'm showing it to the camera. Hopefully you can see it. A guy who's local to here, Brandon Smith, wrote it. Him and another great guy, Randy Hain, have a company called Leadership Foundry. They consult companies and whatnot. And the whole idea was this author versus editor dilemma. So I'll explain. Oftentimes, people think that the author, everyone in a one-on-one holds one of those roles. You're either the author of ideas and contributions or problem solving, or the editor of them. And oftentimes people think that if you're the manager in the one-on-one, that you need to be the author of all things.
Interesting.
But really, the empowering leader flips that and encourages the direct report to be the author of things. And so then what happens is the weight is not on your shoulders entirely as my boss to bring all the content and all the things. I know what pieces you're going to ask me about, but as the author of some of this, I can bring value to the meeting and bring things to talk about and bring ideas, some creativity, some things to try. And then because you're so good at what you do and because you have a perspective that I don't, being the leader, you can edit my ideas. You can edit my contributions. One of the things that I've experienced is one of my favorite leaders told me, hey, if we're trying to solve a problem or you're trying to solve a problem, don't just come to me with a problem, but come to me with the problem and then a couple of idea solutions that you think we could run. Because for me, it's easier for me to tune into, okay, you've got the problem. Here's your ideas and solutions. Let's brainstorm. And maybe you've got one. I'm like, hey, idea number A, run with it.
Yep.
Do it.
Well, and don't you find that shows that the person bringing the problem has actually thought through and is and is knowledgeable and is contributing to the solution.
Totally.
Even if it requires editing, even if it requires some adjustment, you can start not on a blank sheet of paper, right? Yeah. And the manager then feels like the burden isn't all on their shoulders to create all the solutions, which sometimes we do.
Because, well, here's what I'll say. That leader that I had that did that for me, and I saw how valuable it was and how quickly we were able to solve things and how empowering it actually felt.
It goes back to that trust.
To say, hey, you're going to come across, you're going to come across things like, I want to hear your ideas. You're here in this company because you're qualified to be here. So bring your best.
For years, what I used to have taped on my monitor that I learned along the way in coaching is this question when people would come and ask questions, which in previous years happened a lot more.
Sure.
But my reminder on my monitor was the question, what do you think we should do?
Yeah. Yes.
Which is instilling or encouraging.
Yep. That same principle.
That same
idea. It had such an impact on me that the first time I got to lead a whole team, I had a team training and I told everybody, I was like, hey, I am here to help you. I am here to help you solve problems. When you come across an issue with a client or with support or with whatever it might be, a quote that you're trying to put together, a deal you're trying to work, I want to be involved. I want you to always feel like you can come to me. But if you're going to bring me a problem, I also want you to take the time to think through one or two or three potential solutions.
Yep.
Because we're going to be able to solve it easier.
And don't you find over time, the more you do that, the more people will bring. They feel willing to bring those ideas and those solutions.
Some of my favorite one-on-ones when I think back on them are ones that I had with key guys on my team, and they come and say, hey, so here's the problem. Here's, what I'm trying to problem solve, whatever. Don't worry. I already thought of 2 or 3 options. I was thinking we could do this or we could do this unless you have another idea.
I love it.
And there were so many times I'd be like, you know what? I like that second option a lot. Run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have my blessing, go.
Yep.
And so
that was a connection, and that was a deposit into your relationship with that
and
person.
here's the thing, like as the leader, you don't have all the answers.
No, of course not.
And you work with really great people. And so then when you can just say, hey, I love that idea, run with it.
Yep.
How empowered did it feel for me the first time someone said that to me to just go and crush it? I'm like, yeah, I came up with a good idea.
Yep.
So this whole idea, I mean, grab the book. It's such a great concept. But as we were kind of planning for this episode, I was like, this is literally the author and editor dilemma. And so hopefully that made sense. As the leader, as the manager, put yourself in the role as the editor, not the author. You don't have to author everything.
You know what that requires? Because I just looked here at the pre-show notes here.
Yeah.
This one-sided problem. Managers oftentimes feel the need to talk the whole time. Yeah. Sometimes, whether or not that's been instilled in them or whether or not it just happens accidentally. But I think for the balance to be right, the manager should listen more than they speak.
Yeah.
And so that gets back to this author versus editor. If you're going to edit, you've got to hear something that you can edit.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the challenges of having a one-on-one that kind of goes off the rails is the manager speaks too much.
Yep.
And I learned a long time ago that as in the role of a manager and the role of an owner, your words will carry more weight.
Yep.
And so if you are quick to speak, the employee is just going to be demotivated to offer new ideas. And they'll say, well, I mean, let's just go with that, right? Because obviously if you're the manager, you get to decide, or if you're the owner, you get to decide.
Yeah.
And so remembering that as a manager, your words carry more weight, whether you want them to or not, they always will.
And I also think that there's a time and a place. Like if you're facilitating a training, your job is to present.
Right.
And bring value and prepare and author, and maybe you prepare and edit with someone else. But, a training is so different than a one-on-one.
For sure.
Don't mix them up. Mm-mm. Don't interchange them. Have the time to build the relationship, to instill trust, to be vulnerable, to accomplish what needs to get accomplished. And
another, in that same vein, a one-on-one is not a status update meeting.
Yep.
If it devolves into just, how about this thing, 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 where the employee brings all the status updates, the manager asks all the questions, that is not the point.
Yep.
That is absolutely not. There's room for some of that.
Yeah.
But that can't be the weight of the meeting is just a status update. You can have separate meetings for that. Departmental, L10s, in the EOS world, there's all kinds of places for status updates.
Yep.
Heck, email and Teams or whatever, Slack, whatever you use, great places for status update meetings. But a one-on-one is not that.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Could have been an email. How many times have you said that? Okay, so let's finish here. But conceptually we've covered a lot, but let's just do maybe one practical takeaway. Like if there's somebody that's listening, and we'll start with the manager that's listening that goes, okay, I want to try something different in 2026 in this new year. I want to facilitate a better one-on-one. What would your one piece of advice be?
Just one.
And it can be something we've already covered.
Yeah. No. I think probably my advice for 2026 and starting any new habit, because ultimately that's what you're doing. The first thing is to vision cast, right? Hey, listen, I heard this podcast and these guys were talking about one-on-ones, and I think either with the employee, I think we've actually never had a real one, or we used to have these and I loved them and we've fallen off, right? So it's the vulnerability or the re-engagement.
It's good.
The vision casting.
Yeah.
You've got to start with the why.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why do I feel like this is important? But because if it's one more thing you've added to an employee's day or week or month, and they don't understand its importance, you're already behind. You've already lost, right? Because now you've just added another burden to an already probably overwhelmed schedule.
Yep.
So you have to clarify why we're going to do this, why this is important. And it's got to be, as with all things like that in employment world, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
What is actually what are we about? What are we trying to get at? What's the importance of this? That's step number one. And then number two is back to what we talked about, the vulnerability.
Yep. Which
starts with, hey, I'm going to get this wrong.
Yeah.
I promise you, I'm not.
This might look sloppy.
This is going to be sloppy in the beginning because we're both building the muscle of how to do this well. I'm going to get this wrong at times. And so just give me grace, forgive me. My intentions are pure. and we'll figure this out together.
I love that. I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
I think by having that intentionality, vulnerability, and explaining the why, you will get so much further faster than the default setting of like going through the motions of whatever it used to be.
Yep.
So maybe try one of those things. I would say as the direct report, think about areas that you can bring value by authoring things.
Yeah.
Author, you know what your manager wants to cover. You know what ideas you have. Author some ideas and bring value.
Yeah. Well, which I think the underlying point to that is a one-on-one is not just about the time of the meeting. It requires advanced preparation.
Yep.
On both sides, honestly.
And it's bidirectional.
Right? It's bidirectional. And I think so there should be some time set aside, some intentional time to prepare for a one-on-one.
Ooh, that's good.
With ideas, with, hey, here's what's on my mind here's some challenges, some issues that are on my personal issues list that I need to be ready to talk about in my one-on-one. And same with the manager, like here are some things that I know are topical and I, that I want to incremental feedback, is that needs to be part of it.
Yep. And then I think as a whole, as the manager and as the direct report, think about the deposits that you can make into the relationship. Because one day you're going to need to make a withdrawal.
Yep.
And the more trust, the more relational equity, the more deposits that you've made, the easier it is to pull from that same account.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this was great, man.
Good
Thank
stuff.
you. I appreciate it. Hopefully you got something great out of it. We hope you did. And we hope that this helps transform your 2026 and your one-on-ones with the folks that you get the opportunity to work with. So keep coming back. We're going to keep showing up. And thank you for listening, Jason. As always, thank you.
Always good to be here.
All right. Take care.
Cheers.